Make sure that's the right way around, so I don't look at our knob. Polska. Unbelievable trip to see. If you've read the media reports in the UK, I'm wearing a hat because it's freezing cold, and if I take it off, I've got pure shit hair. So anyway, I went to Poland. It's their Independence Day. If you read the British media reports, you'll read that 60,000 Nazis marched. Unbelievable. I was on that march. It's not 60,000 Nazis. It's not 60,000. It's well over 60,000 people. You have to see the size of this march. If you're watching this, you're subscribed anyway, so you're going to see the videos we're going to put together of this week of that march, of their Independence Day. Many things I didn't know about Poland. I hadn't actually, I'm taking this off because I'm too hot. I don't care about my hair. Right. Many things I didn't know about Poland were, do you know, we haven't been tested in Britain. We haven't been tested, or we haven't had to. When you look at Poland's history, they were off the map. There was no Poland. For over 100 years, there was no Poland. They got their independence back 100 years ago. 100 years ago next year. So 99 years ago, I think. Yeah. Now, in 1944, when I look at their history, or just look at Poland's history, look at the Battle of the Gates of Vienna, 1683 on September the 11th, was the 20,000 Polish horses, 80,000 hooves, marched down. There's statues of this. They stopped the Ottoman Empire. If they hadn't, so the Polish saved Europe. If they hadn't stopped the Ottoman Empire, the Muslims would have continued to invade. They'd have took over Austria. They'd have took over the whole of Europe. They'd have destroyed Christendom. There'd have been no Christianity. They'd have absolutely obliterated it. The Polish prevented that. If you look at the Battle of Britain, we wouldn't have won the Battle of Britain if it wasn't for the Polish. When you look at Poland's history, I looked in 1944, the biggest uprising, the biggest civil uprising of people in the world's history. 250,000 people fought with pitchforks against the Nazis. 250,000 died. 63 days they managed to fight for. They thought they'd be able to fight for 5 days. They fought for 63 days. Now, Poland, when you go through all of this and you speak to the Polish people, they're very aware of the fight. If I could tie up in one word the story of their country, it would be struggle. The struggle for their independence, the struggle for their identity, the struggle for who they are. And now they're very aware of who they are, and you'll see that in the upcoming video. They know who they are, they know their history, and they know how to fight for it. And it was so amazing to watch and see. And then to come back and read British media reports calling them all Nazis is just an absolute liberty. Yes, in amongst that £100,000, there were probably some unsavoury characters, some unsavoury groups. There would have been. It's massive. It's their Independence Day rally. Everyone supports it. It was huge. Now, we've got some interviews coming up from you, from MPs, from the organisers of the rally, from Antifa. We had a little clash with Antifa because we went to I was in the middle of the Antifa demonstration, but all those videos are coming up on the Tommy Robinson show. Yeah? Poland, I love you. I'll come back, I just think it's great to see, and it's disheartening to see because it makes you think, what has happened to us as British men? Where is our pride? Where is our fight? That's what it made me think. And it also made me admire the Polish country and the Polish people. Admire them. Something else, I'm telling you. Get yourself out there next year. I think it's their 100-year anniversary next year. Get yourself out there for the Independence Rally. I've never been to or seen anything like it. Right. Now let's get back onto our country. Yeah? Where the church are telling little boys to come to school dressed in skirts. We're back. I'm home. Obviously. None of this. This would not happen in Poland. Boys as young as 5 should be able to wear tiaras at school without criticism. Teachers in the Church of England schools are to be told. Male pupils should also be free to dress up in a tutu or high heels. Do you know what they've got? They've got transgenders, transgender people, drag queens. Go and speak to children at schools about transgenders. I'm telling you, if they bring a drag queen or a ladyboy into my kid's school to speak to my child, I'm going to lose the head. To tell my little boy that he can dress up as a girl. No, he can't. No, he won't. He's a boy. He's a lad. That's what he's meant to be. This is a complete breakdown of everything about who we are, about society. It's a complete attack on our society, on our whole. It's just, and as I said, every time I read these papers, you can't get through a paper without reading about trans or he or z or whatever they call it, man. Drag queens to visit nursery schools to teach about LGBT. You better not bring a drag queen into my kid's school, I'm telling you that. And I hope every other parent feels the same. Drag queens are being brought into taxpayer-funded nursery schools to teach children about sexual diversity. In nursery schools? Are you taking the piss? Are you talking about anything? Like the Drag Queen Storytime organisation based in Bristol was formed to teach children about LGBT tolerance. Nursery bosses say the sessions will help children to see people who defy rigid gender restrictions. What, boys and girls? Who grow up to combat hate crime. They want to target 2 and 3-year-olds. They want to brainwash 2 and 3-year-olds. I'm glad all my children are older than 2 and 3. 7 London early. Unbelievable. You want to bring ladyboys in to speak to 2 and 3-year-olds. Right, I said last week with the talk about the EU, tell them I do one. Tell them to piss off. They're bullying you. They're bullying us. Now, there was an interview, I'll include the interview in this because it's a good interview, from the owner of Dyson Hoovers, who says exactly the same. Walk away, leave the talks now and go. We're not paying them no money. Don't pay them no money. We don't owe them no money. They'll come back to us then.
As somebody who is very optimistic about Britain after Brexit, how confident are you that this government will actually deliver Brexit, given the way things are at the moment?
Well, I don't think it's the government's fault. I think the problem the people we're negotiating with. And I think the demanding, billions and billions to leave is quite outrageous, and demanding it before we've negotiated anything is outrageous. So I would walk away. I think that's the only way to deal with them. I've been dealing with the EU and the EU countries for the last 25 years on IEC standards and energy labels and all that kind of thing. There's no way to deal with them. You have to walk away. And if you walk away, they'll come to us because they want to export all their products to us. So they'll come back to us. We're in a very, very strong position, incredibly strong position. We shouldn't give them any money. We should just walk away and they'll come to us.
But all this, it looks like we're begging to work with them, begging to talk to them. Tell them to do one. They need us more than we need them. Memorial Day. Where did you spend your Memorial Day? I've had a lot of people having a go at me. A lot of people having a go at me for saying that I was on a march with Nazis. I wasn't on a march with Nazis. I was there to report anyway, which I will bring you the report. I interviewed MPs, I interviewed activists, I interviewed the left, I interviewed everybody. But then they said, when he should have been paying his respects to the British Armed Forces. Yeah? I did. Of course I did. I looked up to see the story of where any British servicemen had died in Poland to see if there would be remembrance services. And then I travelled on Sunday morning with my Polish friends, and we went to the site of where a British planes had crashed, and then heard the story of a witness, because someone survived the crash, and miraculously one of the British men survived. And yeah, that's where I paid my respects. And do you know what? It actually, I'm seeing here about the Queen had a tear in her eyes. As I watched the Polish military, the band, play our national anthem, at that scene, it brought tears to my eyes, man. It was amazing. It was amazing, an amazing sight. And there was lots of British military there as well who were stationed an hour away in Poland somewhere. So they had come to pay their respects at the same site. And yeah, it was brilliant. One thing I'm a bit frustrated about is that I wasn't at home to take my children to an event, a remembrance event, but I think it's important that you see, I think it's important that people view and see how you can react when you allow pride in your identity and your history, which we're not. And you know, Polish people, I met many Polish people who would say to me, who lived in England, they're all going home. You know, all the Poles are going home now. Loads of them are going home. They're going back to their own country, and because they have pride in their own country. And what they said is your elder generation, the British elder generation, they highly respect. This is what they said when they come to the country. Your new generation are lost. They're lost. They're right. I looked at them for, well, you bang on the money. They're lost because they don't know who they are. They're not allowed to celebrate who they are. We have all this bullshit going on. All these diversity laws, all these attacks. Facing the sack, teacher who accidentally called transgender boy a girl. He is a girl. It was a girl, okay? So a school teacher makes one comment. He apologised straight after. This girl, who now calls herself a boy, he usually calls her by the boy's name, yeah? She wants to be called Z or they or this or some shit like that, yeah? So you got the girl, who's now a boy, and another girl. They done good work. So what he said is, you done good work today, girls. He's suspended. He's going to lose his job. Stop giving combos to criminals. Have we seen this? A Somalian criminal scumbag who was held in jail longer than he should have been has been awarded £80,000 compensation. The migrant who's been committing crimes in Britain for 21 years. He cannot get deported. Syrian refugee who assaults 6 women gets just 16 months in jail. What is wrong with our country? What is wrong with us? We're a laughing stock. As I said, when I come back from another country like I just have, it makes you really think deeply about what our country's become, what we've allowed it become, how ridiculous we are and how great some other populations are. So North Korea, this is what happens with Donald Trump puts out a Trump like he just, Donald Trump puts out a Trump. Donald Trump puts out a tweet like he just has. And this is the out of touch media and elite. The people think how ridiculous this tweet is. Whereas what this tweet does, it just connects with the British, with not the British women, but just the public who think brilliant. I read it and thought, the President of the United States has just said that. So Donald Trump has branded North Korean leader Kim Jong-un of short and fat. Well, he didn't, actually. No, he did. He said, why would Kim Jong-un insult me by calling me old? I would never call him short and fat. It's just brilliant. To come from the American president, it's great. And I'm going to finish on that because I didn't get until 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't land home until 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm shattered and I'm going to go because we had a few late nights. And I didn't have one party, you know. I didn't go to the after party. We didn't have a drink. That's the last 2 trips. I'm becoming boring and old and fat. So I need to get in